Hi, it's Salim, and thanks for joining me on this free training here. Today, I'm going to show you how you can get a 4.0 GPA this semester using my equation for success formula that has helped over 6,000 students today. And if you follow what I'm about to show you, I'm confident that you'll be able to get a 4.0 GPA this semester in the next 12 weeks. So let's go into more detail and I'll describe who this training is for. So this training is for parents of motivated students who want their child to get a 4.0 at a 4.0 GPA at university this semester, and to do so with less stress, time, and frustration. It's for parents who are worried that their child does not know how to study effectively and want them to reach new heights in their academic performance using the exceptional support that we provide. And from personal experience, most students, I would say over 90% of students, actually do not know how to study effectively. So I'm going to explain to you how you can actually learn to study more effectively and get better results. This training is also for parents who value their child's education and want them to build a bright future and career. And this is actually the main reason most students go to universities, because they want to have a better future and to have a career that they really enjoy. This training is also for parents who are prepared to invest the time, the energy, and effort to help their child be more productive and effective with their time. And lastly, it's for parents who are looking for a clear and actionable plan to help their child improve their mental health and stay motivated to achieve their goals. And this is important, and I put in mental health for a reason. It's because this is the number one issue that most university students face, and it's due to the overwhelming workload that they get when they leave high school and they go to the post-secondary level. So what are you going to learn in this training? Well, there's three goals. The first goal is you're going to understand why your child, or if you're watching this and you're a student, why all your effort and hard work does not help you get the grades that you really want. The second goal of this training is that you'll understand why you must never rely on teachers and professors to help you become a top student. And then goal number 3 is how to efficiently learn, retain, and recall large amounts of information for your tests and exams. But before I teach you this information here, let's make an agreement. So I promise to show you in this training how to get a 4.0 GPA this semester. But I would like you to make the agreement that you will actually take action on what I share. And the reason I say this is because just by listening and understanding information, it doesn't mean that you're actually going to get the results that you want. It's only when you take action, that's when you'll actually get to implement the information, and then that's when the results start to happen. So just by listening and understanding what I'm about to tell you, it's not going to help you very much until you take the action. So this is why I'd like you to make this agreement with me. So please make a silent promise to yourself that you're going to take action on what I share, because again, without taking action, you're not going to get any results. You might be wondering right now why your child isn't seeing the progress that you want them to have at university. You might feel frustrated because you don't have the time, knowledge, or patience to help them. It may seem as if it's just impossible for them to get a 4.0 GPA at university right now. And you've even tried hiring a tutor, but it still didn't make a difference, and your child still didn't perform the way you know that they can perform. So I'm going to explain why these problems exist. Okay. So the first thing is that effort does not equal success. So the reason I wanted to touch on this is because we've been taught since we were young that effort actually, if you work hard enough, you'll be successful. But the reality is that a lot of students, they work hard, but they work hard in the wrong areas. So what happens if you work hard, but if you work hard in the wrong area? Well, you burn a lot of energy, but you actually end up not getting the result that you want. And this is what causes students today to experience extreme levels of stress, anxiety, and burnout. What students really need to learn is how to work intelligently and effectively. And unfortunately, this is not really taught in most schools today. So relying on school teachers or professors is actually something that is also causing your child to struggle. And the reason for this is because teachers and professors are subject matter experts, okay? So what this means is that they know the material, and this is why they teach it. But they are not learning experts. So they know the material, but they don't know how to help people efficiently learn the material. So this is a very important distinction that you need to understand here. That knowing the material is one thing, but being able to learn the material effectively and at a deep level is another problem. Okay, and so these teachers and professors are subject matter experts, but they're not, again, learning experts. Okay, and again, it's not their fault. It's because they've actually never been taught this, right? When we're in school, we're taught what to learn, but we're not taught exactly how to learn. Okay, and the reason I mention this is because if you're not taught how to learn, you might be very, very intelligent, but because you don't know exactly how to learn based on your own learning style, you could be facing some challenges right now. And for example, some students are very visual, so they need to learn using a lot of visual methods so they can retain the information. But then some students are very sequential, so what they need to do is they need to absorb information in a very sequential manner, so it has to be in order. Okay, so they have to learn things in a specific order. Some students are very what you call global learners, so they need to learn things in a random way, and then slowly they can kind of figure it out and make sense of it all. Okay, and then some students are just active learners. So what that means is that they actually need to play around with the material. They need to actually discuss it with other people, and they actually need to do something with the information that they get. So this is why it's important to understand that teachers and professors may not be able to teach you how to learn the material, but they're very good at actually explaining what to learn. And they'll be able to explain the concepts. The problem is you need to understand how to actually learn the material effectively. Another problem is that we're at an age of exponential information growth. So looking at the chart here, you can see that the amount of information, according to IBM, is that information is actually doubling every 11 to 12 hours. And this is what you call the knowledge doubling curve. So the problem here is that students are inundated with information because information is growing so rapidly. I mean, it's like I said, it's at an exponential rate. But the real problem is that our school system really has not updated their method of teaching. So students are in the classroom and they're being kind of taught, and they're actually using very, very outdated methods of learning. Why? It's because they've never been taught new and effective ways to learn. So really, they're using learning strategies and methods that were around in the early 1900s. And at that time, it made sense because any information we got was very valuable at that time. But today, there's so much information that students need to learn a brand new way of learning, and they actually need to be able to filter out what is valuable and what is not valuable. And in my opinion, this is going to be the most one of the most valuable things that we're going to have to learn, because the internet has made accessing information very, very easy. But again, a lot of this information is not valuable. So what happens is students, they try to learn it all because they think more information is better. And so they get burnt out, they get stressed, and they're not able to absorb all the information. When in reality, if they had a different learning approach, which we show in this program, they'll be able to actually save so much time studying. They'll be able to know exactly what is going to be on the test, and they'll be able to take all this information and make it very, very small and manageable, so then they can actually learn it at such a deep level, so then they can perform better on tests and exams. So what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about myself, just so you know that the person talking to you actually has some experience. Okay, so my name is Aleem Nasser, and when I was in high school, I actually had less than a 70% average. And on top of that, when I was in university, I was put on academic probation because I had a less than a 1.96 grade point average. So what ended up happening was I was very, very nervous, and I was very, very scared. So then what ended up happening was I had to figure things out for myself. And when I was able to learn what I'm about to show you, and what I learned was called the equation for success, I ended up transforming my life completely. I was able to get a 4.0 grade point average at university. I obtained 3 university degrees. I became an author and a university instructor. And I also was invited to do a TEDx talk, and I've worked at some of the the largest global management consulting firms in the world. And after doing that, I realized that what I really want to do is help students transform their lives by actually teaching them what I learned. So I've been doing this for the last 13 years, and I've had exceptional success. In fact, I've helped over 6,000 students achieve high levels of academic performance all around the world. So here's an example of some of the students that I've worked with. So Ramiz actually came to me when I first started off, and he was an excellent student. He did everything that was required, and he now works at Google. And Inam, same thing. He followed everything that was taught to him, and he applied the material, and now he's living in Tajikistan, and he is a chief financial officer for a company there. And May, same thing. She applied the material. She actually unlearned some of the things that she was being taught at school, and now she is a medical doctor. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to grab a pen and some paper, and I'm actually going to explain to you how you can actually get a 4.0 grade point average this semester. Now, if you're feeling like it's not possible, I think after we go through this training, you'll be able to understand how it is possible and why you or your child can get a 4.0 grade point average this semester. So the first thing I want you to learn here is that you cannot learn in the way that is taught in the traditional school system right now. And the reason for this is because they have not updated their learning or teaching approaches. And I explained this to you from the knowledge doubling curve that I presented. So what you need to do here is you need to actually have a new way of learning, and we call this the learning trifecta. So what this basically means here is that in order for you to become a winning student, you need to apply specific strategies that are going to help you be successful. Now, once again, these strategies are not taught in most schools today. Most students just go through trial and error, and sometimes they figure it out and sometimes they don't. But what you need to do is actually apply the correct strategies. But if you apply these correct strategies, but if you apply them inconsistently, then what happens is you start to not get the results that you want, and you'll notice that you're not able to kind of consistently get predictable results. So what you need to do is develop habits. So you need to apply these strategies, and when you apply these strategies, they need to turn into habits, because once you turn them into habits, then that's when you start building the consistency, you start building the momentum. And then what happens is the results become more predictable. But in order to actually apply these strategies and turn them into habits, you need to be in the right environment. So you need to be in an environment where people are actually holding you accountable and people are actually being able to encourage you. And if you make a mistake, they'll pick you back up, they'll dust you off, they'll, kind of support you as you keep on going through this material. And a lot of the things that we learn in school in order to be successful today, they actually need to be unlearned. And so we need to actually create an environment for you to unlearn some of these concepts. Because if you're using old concepts that are outdated, no matter how hard you work, you're not going to be able to achieve these results. So we need to build an environment which you can apply these effective strategies, turn them into habits, and then that will make you into a winning student. Another thing you need to understand here is that the reason why you're getting the current results that you're getting is because you are not expanding your comfort zone enough. Okay, so what I mean by this is that you need to get uncomfortable so you can have a bigger comfort zone. So in order for this to happen, you need to go through some personal growth. Okay, so you can see that the inside circle, there's a little black dot there. So that might be the grade that you're getting right now. And then you can see if you follow the arrow going straight up, you'll notice that that dot is at the top of that circle. So that is, in essence, the 4.0 GPA that you could achieve this semester. But in order to get there, you need to go through some personal growth. In order to experience this personal growth, you cannot afford to think and act the same way that you always have been thinking and acting. Okay, and again, this goes for parents too. You have to encourage your child and may have to do things that are uncomfortable. So this might be getting them to a mentor or a coach that can help them. This might mean making a financial investment in your child, or this might mean even encouraging them in a way that they've never been encouraged before. So instead of telling them to work harder, you might have to tell them something else. Okay, so I'm going to actually explain to you more in terms of what I mean here. Okay, so I just wanted to make this very clear to you that you need to expand your comfort zone if you want to get better results, because you cannot get the same results if you're staying in your current comfort zone. So I'm going to explain to you now this equation for success. And to me, the equation for success was the thing that completely transformed my life. So we're going to look at our first pillar here. So the first pillar is success. So when I talk about success, what I'm really referring to is understanding that each one of us has a different definition of success. And our definition of success actually is critical, because you'll notice that most students actually have no idea what success means to them. Most students have been listening to other people define what success means to them. And because they're not clear on what success is in their own opinion, they work exceptionally hard to achieve somebody else's definition of success. And this is very common. Some parents might have an agenda for their child and want them to be in a certain occupation. Sometimes professors will tell their students that if they achieve this career, then they're successful. And it happens also in the media as well. For example, if you drive this car, then you are successful. If you wear these types of clothing, then you're successful. So what happens here is the majority of students really don't know what success means to them. And then what ends up happening is they're not able to know where to focus their time and attention. And so what happens is, without being able to be clear on their definition of success, they work hard, but they don't actually feel like they're successful. Because what happens is they don't have a clear destination for them. So even if they start to take action, sometimes they'll feel like, well, that's not really what I really want. So then they actually go in a different direction. So they actually don't get closer to their goal. And so they're working hard, but they're just kind of going everywhere and they're not getting into their destination. Okay, so just think of it like a plane having no clear destination. Okay, they're just burning a lot of fuel, but it's being wasted, and then eventually they'll land in the wrong destination. And again, this is the majority of students, and the reason being is because their destination, or in other words, their definition of success, is actually not clear for them. Okay, so this is something that needs to be rectified. What students really need is to get a clear idea of what success is for them. Okay, now how do they do this? Well, they do this by increasing their self-awareness, by being able to vision what is important for them, and to be able to effectively plan what they really want to achieve. Okay, and then when they actually are clear on their own definition of success, what can happen is then they begin to plan a very clear and concise route for them to get there. And this makes learning very, very easy. And I shouldn't say very easy, but it makes it more easier, because some of the courses and some of the classes that they take, they are challenging, but it becomes a little bit easier and more straightforward because they understand where they're going and they understand their destination. And what can happen here is when they're clear on their definition of success, they take less detours. So what happens is that means they save a lot of time. And when they save a lot of time, they're actually able to get to their destination faster. Okay, so think of it like a pilot. Okay, and I'm using Canadian cities as an example here. So I live in Calgary. So imagine if you are taking a flight from Calgary to Toronto and you take multiple flights. You might get to your destination, but it's going to take you much longer and you'll be more frustrated and a lot more fuel is going to be spent. Okay. But if you're clear on your destination and you take a direct flight, you'll be able to get there and it'll be much more pleasurable flight and you'll get there much quicker. Okay. The next pillar is mindset. Mindset is, it's, in my opinion, the most important part of this whole system or the equation for success that we use. And a good way to describe our mindset is that it's like the engine of a car, okay? And the study strategies and the tips and the techniques that we give students to do better, that's like giving them a map, okay? So what's important to understand here is that we can give them a map, but they're still not able to reach their destination if their engine is broken. So this is why a lot of students, they are given strategies to use that do work for some people, but they don't work for others. And then what ends up happening is they think something is wrong with them because the strategy that they used didn't work for them, but it seemed to work for everybody else. The reason for this is because the student didn't have the correct mindset. Okay, or in the analogy that I'm giving, they didn't have the right engine or the engine was broken. So the key here is that we need to be able to build the right mindset. And then when you build the right mindset, then all of a sudden the study strategies will begin to work. Okay, so without the right mindset, the best study strategies in the world will not help you succeed. So an example could be that if your child has a lot of self-doubt or is going through a lot of fear or stress, you give them a strategy, they're actually not going to be able to implement that strategy well because the doubt is stopping them from actually executing the strategy correctly. And they'll begin to second guess themselves and they'll begin to sort of not believe that they can actually be successful. So what really needs to happen here? Okay, so before students can actually succeed, they must possess the right set of beliefs and thoughts. Okay, so I talked about having lots of doubt and fear. Okay, they need to clear that up. And I mean, these are just some mindsets that they have, but unless they clear these, the doubt and the fear, they're not going to be able to be successful. So the key here is that when they change their mindset, all of a sudden the strategies, they just magically work better. And the reason for this is because now they're actually implementing with confidence. They're implementing with self-assuredness. and they are convinced that they're going to be successful. And what's very interesting is that when you're convinced that you're going to succeed, even if you don't have a very good strategy, you can actually succeed. And so what we do is we actually give them this mindset, and then we also give them proven strategies, which we'll show you later on. But what happens is when they have the right mindset, then all of a sudden the strategies that they were using before, they just seem to work better. And so they get the best grades in all their classes. Why? It's because they take their mind into all their classes. They become more efficient with their time because they know what to focus on. They know where they're headed, and they're not as distracted. And on top of that, their mental and emotional health improves significantly. And again, this is the number one issue that's harming university students today. And why is it that their mental and emotional health improve? It's because they have eliminated their stress and anxiety and their doubt. And when this happens, like I said, when they take action using strategies, they seem to work better. Okay, so let's talk more about some of these proven strategies. So when I talk about proven strategies, I'm talking about strategies that actually have been proven to work time and time again. Okay, so they're not random strategies. They're strategies that have been proven to work over and over again. So it's important to understand here, and I touched on this before, is that schools, they teach students what to learn, not how to learn. So again, this is why we cannot rely on teachers and professors, because their job is to teach students what to learn, okay? But how to learn, almost no student knows how to do effectively. In fact, when I teach my classes at the university, I get my students to raise up their hand when I ask them, how many of them have been taught how to learn? Not even effectively, but how many of them have ever been taught how to learn? And I'm very lucky if I see maybe 2 or 3 hands go up. So what this means is that maybe 2 or 3 students in my class have been taught how to learn, okay? And remember, even if they've been taught how to learn, it doesn't mean they've been taught how to learn effectively, because each person is different. So they need to learn effective learning strategies based on their own hardwiring, so to speak. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there's a greater than 90% chance that your child does not use effective learning strategies. And what happens is that their ineffective strategies cause them to get inferior results. And you might see them work really, really hard and get confused as to why they're not doing well. It's because, number one, their mindset is not optimal. And then number two is the strategies that they're using, they're probably not the best strategies for them. They may work with other students, but not for them. Why? Because they're circuited, or they're hardwired in a very different way. Okay. Now, just imagine a basketball player kicking a soccer ball all day long. Okay. If this happened and the basketball player expected to become a better basketball player by kicking the soccer ball all day long, then you would probably say the basketball player is crazy, because the basketball player should be shooting basketball hoops or dribbling the basketball if they want to become a better basketball player. And I know it sounds funny when I use this example, but this is really what happens to most students. Most students, they want to do better on a test or an exam, but they study the wrong material. And they're putting energy and focus into the wrong areas. And it's because they have ineffective strategies. So it's very important that I mention this, because you would laugh at a basketball player kicking a soccer ball all day long, hoping to become a better basketball player. But it's very similar, again, to students who study everything and try to learn everything when there's only a certain amount that they need to know for an exam. Okay, so they need to be able to filter out what is valuable and be able to study only that material. Okay, and again, we touched a little bit about that on that knowledge doubling curve, that filtering information is one of the most valuable skills they need to learn in today's day and age. So, proven strategies. What students really need to learn are the same exact strategies that have been proven to work for other 4.0 GPA students. Okay, once they start implementing the same strategies that other 4.0 GPA students work or use, all of a sudden things start to work. Remember, as long as they have the right mindset. So what we do is we teach them these strategies so they don't have to figure them out themselves. Okay, and some of them will spend months or years through trial and error. Okay, but again, once we show them these strategies, their grades improve very, very quickly because, again, we're also teaching them the right mindset. And then all of a sudden their grades and their results shoot up very, very quickly. And then they save many, many hours of studying, and their mistakes, the errors and frustrations decrease rapidly. And one thing I didn't put on the slide is that their confidence goes up and their enjoyment at school and their self-worth also increases because now they're starting to see results come very, very quickly. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So the first thing I would like to say here is that your child needs to be able to be very clear on their definition of success. If they're not clear on their definition of success, they could be wasting their time and energy in the wrong areas and actually move away from their goal. And there's a greater chance that they'll lose motivation, they'll lose their focus, and they'll get distracted much more easily. So the next slide here is our mindset. And the reason why I'm showing a picture of a Ferrari is because we don't want to build an average mindset in your child. Okay, we want to build them a Ferrari mindset. So in other words, we want to build them such an optimal mindset that they'll be able to get to their destination with more speed, more efficiency, with greater precision, and actually enjoy the process along the way. So what'll happen is their doubt, their second guessing, their overthinking, their fears, they will begin to diminish so that they can actually get to their destination faster using the strategies that we provide them. And again, the proven strategies that we're going to give them have been tested, have been used, have been scrutinized in great detail. So it's going to save them tremendous amounts of time and energy to get to where they want to go. Okay, so it's a quick summary in terms of the equation for success system that we use. And then I thought what I would do is I would actually give you show you some testimonials from students. And I actually just took these out from my last class. And you can see here what students are saying. And, take the time to pause this video and read the rest of them. But these are real life testimonials from students who have taken this training. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is because I want you to see that this stuff actually does work. And, if you are at all having any doubts or anything like that, I put these testimonials hopefully for you to see that the material that is being taught is effective and it is working and it is making a huge difference in the lives of hundreds and hundreds of students today. So congratulations on getting this far. And what I wanted to do is just give you a reminder, and that is that you made a commitment to take action. Okay, so I want you to take action. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to book an appointment with me. So I'd like you to book your Blueprint for Success session with me. Okay, and I would like to have a serious chat with you and your child as to how we can help your child get that guidance to help them get that 4.0 GPA this semester. Okay, when we get together, we'll be able to come up with a clear roadmap. Okay, so they at least know what they can focus on. And if it does make sense, we can talk about what it would be like for us to work together. Okay, and it's important to understand here that there's no obligation. Okay, but I do want to stress that if you are relying on the school system to help your child do better at school, you're probably going to, your child is probably not going to have too good results. And the reason for this is because, remember, their mindset needs to be improved. We talked about the environment and we talked about the strategies. And all these things need to be upgraded in order for your child to be successful. So to summarize, there's three choices we can make in life. Okay, one is guesswork. We can kind of guess our way through it. And believe it or not, some people actually are pretty good at this. They can guess their way to being successful. This wasn't the case for me. I was more number two. So I would work myself to the bone, and I would get some results. But the problem with me was that I did not have the right mindset and my strategies were not effective. So all the hard work I put in was not effective at all. Or you can use a proven framework. This proven framework is something that is going to save your child time, money, energy, and allow them to get superior results. When I talk about superior results, I'm talking about results that will help them not only to be the best student in their classes, but help them to be the best student in the entire school. And some of my students have actually had full paid scholarships for the entire time that they're at the university. And I mean, this equals in excess of $40,000 to $50,000. And some of them have even been able to get numerous scholarships as well. Okay, so let's look at these three individuals here. Okay, so Michael Jordan, Jeff Bezos, and Steven Spielberg. So why are they successful? Well, the first reason why I believe they're successful is because all of them were very, very clear. They were crystal clear on their definition of success. So because they were very, very clear on their definition of success, they knew exactly what they needed to do to achieve their goals. And so they did not get distracted and they did not go off into areas which didn't really serve them well. Okay, I think Michael Jordan actually, he decided to play a bit of baseball, and then he quickly realized that's not the thing for him. So he got a little bit distracted. Okay, but he learned from that distraction because what happened was he came back and he won another NBA championship. So the other thing that's different from them is that they have a very, very different mindset from the average person. And their mindset is the thing, in my opinion, that sets them apart. So they just think like a different human being. They don't think like the rest of us. Okay, so these individuals, they have such superior beliefs and thoughts and perceptions in this world that the average person doesn't have. And this is why their hard work has been able to pay off for them. And lastly, the strategies that they use are actually very, very different from the strategies that most people use. And if you actually study these individuals, you'll notice that some of the strategies that they implement, most people would never implement them. And they do a lot of risk taking. They take a lot of chances, in our opinion, but because they have a different mindset, they're able to capitalize and make better decisions and better take more informed risks. And this is why they get the results that they get. So, one of the things I really want to stress here is that these individuals also did not do it alone. Okay, Michael Jordan had a coach. Jeff Bezos had business partners. Steven Spielberg, he also had a good team around him. And so this is very, very important because we need to understand that we cannot do this alone. We have to have people to help us through it. And I was not able to get my 4.0, my 3 degrees, all the results that I am blessed with today by doing it myself. I actually had to hire a coach and I had to surround myself and create a good environment for myself, change my mindset, develop the right strategies, and then develop these habits so I could consistently get the results that I wanted. Okay, so I'm happy to be able to discuss this with you in more detail. And in order to do that, you need to schedule your Blueprint for Success session with me. And again, it's no obligation, but we can actually have a very good discussion in terms of how we can potentially help you and your child to do better in school. And the information that you're going to learn in our session is very, very different from anything you've probably ever experienced before. The first part is really me going to try to take a deep understanding in terms of where you're at. And then I'm going to suggest some resources that can help you. And if it works out that you would like to continue working with me, then we can address that at that time. Okay, so thank you very much, and book your Blueprint for Success session with me right now, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.